We love having students come in for the first time and meet each other, so this is always a very fun day for us. Our goal today is just to get you to know each other, get you to know a little bit about what's coming up in the program, and just to meet some people so that you feel comfortable when you start school in a few weeks. The first thing we're going to do is have a welcome from our new dean, Stephanie Lenway, so I'll let her take the floor.
Good to see you. So I am really happy to see you because I've been here 5 days, and you've been here even less time than me. So I'm not totally new. So here I am welcoming you to a place, in some ways I know very well, but in some ways I'm brand new. So that's an interesting confluence. I want to talk about 3 things this morning. First, St. Thomas, because one thing I learned at the University of St. Thomas is there's a real commitment to one university. So you are a part of the University of St. Thomas. And then I'll talk briefly about the Opus College. And given I've been here 5 days, it's really nothing I know about, but things I'm thinking about. And then even possibly briefer about healthcare, because that's why you're here. So, the University of St. Thomas, what's interesting to me is I got a business card. And the mission is on the back of each card. How many of you come from an organization where they put the mission on the card? No. I'll tell you something. I used to teach strategy. So one thing that you say right away is, if you have a mission, it better be authentic, or else people are just going to say, who cares? But if they put it on each card, it's one way of making it authentic. So, have you seen it? No. It's all right. You're newer than me. Don't worry. But I'm going to read it to you. So, our mission, and this is different for me. I come, some of you may know, totally, except for, briefly I was at Washington University like eons ago. But my whole career has been in public education. So this is different. But it's interesting. And now it's you. So inspired by the Catholic intellectual tradition, the University of St. Thomas educates students, okay, so this is you, just so you know, to be morally responsible leaders who think critically, act wisely, and work skillfully to advance the common good. So fundamentally, you are here to learn to think critically, act think, I'm going to learn this one day. No, it's think critically, act wisely, and work skillfully to advance the common good. That's foundational. And I'll come back in a week and get it right. But it's on my card, so in case I forget, I can always find it. So that's the University of St. Thomas. The Opus College, part of the reason I'm here is it has a superb faculty. And this is, I'm a dean, I'm also a faculty member. You can't do anything without a faculty. So you are very lucky. I am very lucky, and they're over there. So you'll get to meet them. The Opus College also has a distinct faculty. It's not like all the schools I've been at. There's a whole school of entrepreneurship. And if it's not in your class, there'll be opportunities for you to engage in thinking about business plans, innovations, new service mechanisms, whatever. I hired a friend. I can't say who because it's a secret till the end of the month. But he'll be a great asset to the Schultz School and to you in terms of structuring entrepreneurial ideas. So that's different. The other unique thing for me is there's a whole department of faculty who teach ethics and entrepreneurship. I mean, ethics and business law. And this is a huge asset, I think, to a healthcare program. And then there's healthcare. So these are sort of unique assets that can come together to enrich this program. Now, healthcare. Okay. So it's interesting. Some of you know I come from Michigan State, which is known for supply chain. But I think that sort of integrated perspective is valuable for looking at healthcare. And this is the systems approach I've learned recently is what makes this program somewhat distinctive. So it's the integration, the connectedness, the interdependencies, and looking at healthcare as a system. So yesterday, Jack and I had lunch with a woman who used to be the vice president of administration at the Mayo Clinic. And she said, oh, problems are obvious. The insurers or the payers don't know how to speak to the doctors. And the doctors don't really know much about it. Actually, I can speak to this. I'm a doctor, not a real one, but, you know. I mean, don't know much about administration, and they all speak different languages, and they can't communicate. And I actually think that's plausible. And it's a huge, huge problem. I mean, these are probably perfectly nice, reasonable people that if they're not suffering from preconceptions and, you know, old ways of thinking that aren't helpful, would be fine. You're here to learn a common language of business that will help you bridge these boundaries. You'll be boundary spanners. Healthcare is in desperate need of people who can talk across functions. I mean, the whole world is, but you're in healthcare, so I'll talk about that. But silo busting, boundary spanning, communication is huge. I mean, one thing we talk about in supply chain is it doesn't help to optimize in a silo. You want to optimize across the supply chain, from the idea to the customer. Healthcare is the same way. If you're just optimizing, you know, what doctors are doing, it's probably not helping the insurers, and, you know, who knows what hospital administrators are thinking. So that integration is going to be huge for you. The other observation that came out of a discussion that Jack moderated last week was, you know, where's the source of disruption in healthcare? We know it's in a disruptive state. We know it's not going to be like it used to be. That's why you're here. But who are the disruptors? Okay, you're a little like you're settling in just to listen. So maybe I'll just ask you, who do you think the disruptors are? And I'll repeat what you say so that it goes for the tape.
President Obama.
Okay, so partly President Obama, Obamacare, redoing the structure, and what do you call it? You know, what you try to optimize. You try to optimize healthy outcomes and not just stays in hospitals, that kind of thing. And that's huge. But I also learned from my friend who used to work at Mayo that that's really not that's done. The Supreme Court spoke. I remember I was actually driving from Washington, D.C. to Richmond when they said, okay, the Obamacare is not a violation of the Constitution. You know, we can be encouraged to have health care. We can be encouraged to be healthy. Fine. Given that, that's now the regime. Where's given that's the regime, where's the disruption coming in if that's now the new architecture? Patients. What are they doing? They're making choices, and they're actually sensitive to prices. They're doing other things as well. Has anybody thought about your holiday shopping, like me? I know it's still August. What's going to be the hottest new product coming out this year? Okay, I'll tell you, I'm a Californian.
iPhone 6.
Yeah, but
Whatever, the smartwatch.
the smartwatch is going to tell you all about how you're sleeping and how you're eating and how you're feeling. And if you don't, if it tells you you're cheerful, yes, you are. I mean, consumers are doing a lot to track their own health care. So what does that lead to?
Like EMR and data transparency and all the public information that people can get.
EMR data, just huge data. I mean, all the data, and then the opportunities for data mining and learning from just because you have the universe of data. Okay, so I'll tell you something else. I was captivated by Watson, Dr. Watson. Have you guys encountered Dr. Watson? So Dr. Watson is in Thomas Watson from IBM, is basically a machine learning program. It's not the same as big data, which is, looking at zillions of people and whatever they've captured from emergency rooms or drug usage to whatever. Watson will read. Watson's weird. Watson's a machine. Has no independent capacity for thought, but can be taught. And can read millions of pages in seconds and inhale all the medical research and make inferences based on this research and act as a decision support for doctors. So Watson has passed the medical boards in oncology. And apparently, you can look on the web, I looked a little bit this morning, is a better diagnostician than most doctors, which is weird. But it's the world you'll be working in, of sort of a little artificial intelligence. So there's tons of YouTube on Watson if you're interested. But if it's not Watson, it'll be Google. And if it's not Google, it'll be Apple. And if it's not Apple, it'll be Target. So what did you say? Who are the disruptors? Target, CMX, and Walmart. I mean, that will be the healthcare of tomorrow. It's just like, to me that resonated because I used to have a hospitality business school, and hospitality business is being disrupted from the outside by Airbnb. It's the biggest hospitality company in the world in 2 years. Bigger than Hilton, Marriott, whatever. And the same thing's going to happen to healthcare through the digital economy. And Target's having trouble because you read it in the paper. And so they're going to have to figure some stuff out. And this is something that's still not locked in.
The biggest disruptor is philosophies in the media. You have different conflicting philosophies of the public of how we should approach healthcare. And
Well.
the media spin on how this is bad, this is good, et cetera, et cetera. And many Americans don't have the education to understand the complexity of the healthcare. They're just
Right.
understanding it in the means that it's taught by the media, however the media portrays it. So I think that's a huge, disruptor, because a lot of people think one way or think another way. And so we have to come to a common understanding for the good of the whole.
And that's where this think critically comes in. You will be more informed than the media. You will understand the inner relations of the pieces. And in some ways, it really doesn't matter what people think. It matters what will happen. And, companies will try things. Some things will actually work, and that'll then redefine the way people talk because it'll redefine their experience. So this is, I'm excited to be at St. Thomas because of this healthcare strength, because I think it's one of the most dynamically changing industries today. And I hope you're excited to have this time to spend, to think about it, look at it, and find your way in the system and help advance the common good, which is why we're all here. So welcome, thank you, and I hope I'll get more chance to spend time with you.
So I am going to bring up some of the staff as well as faculty from the program so you can get to know people and they can talk a little bit about what their responsibilities are. My very first tip to all of you is get to know this lady, Alice Nelson, very well. She's going to be your best friend. She knows everything about the program. She can help you through anything you need, so I'll let her talk a little bit about what she does, and then some of the faculty can come up as well.
I don't know about you, but listening to Stephanie, I'm really excited, and I'd like to take the program because, wow, what a great conversation. She just sort of laid the groundwork for you guys, and I just think that's really awesome. But my job is to kind of drill down on some very specific details, and I'm going to just go through some logistics for you so that you'll feel comfortable. You're not going to worry about September, where do you park, where do you show up, what do I wear, do I get fed, lunch, all that kind of good stuff. So everybody has their purple folder, and you pulled out your tent cards. There'll be tent cards for you, each time you come on campus. You'll see in there, I've put the schedule for the September on campus. That also will be posted every time in your corresponding courses in Blackboard. But if you haven't taken a look at it, you will see, for instance, the room location. In September, you're going to be in 401, which is still on this 4th floor, but it's in the northwest corner. This is room 460, so 401, it's back closer to where the restrooms are. And yes, we do start at 7:30. Thursday and Friday we start at 7:30. Why do we start at 7:30? First of all, so that you can get a parking spot. Because believe it or not, it really does fill up. And another very important reason is that something kind of new this year, every Thursday from that 7:30 to 8 o'clock time frame, you are going to be meeting with Jack, who's going to just have a conversation about that connectivity, sort of what you pulling together, summarizing what you learned in the 2 courses you just completed, and sort of lay the groundwork and talk about how it's going to connect with the next courses. This is slightly new for the program, and I think it's going to be a really nice way to help connect and show all of the integration between what you've learned and how the courses all kind of fit together. So, and dress, business casual on a day like today when sort of meeting for the first time, or if there is a panel or an event. But if there's nothing going on, very casual. So for instance, in September, I do recommend Thursday and Friday, you're just sort of the business casual. Thursday, because it's the very first day. Friday, we also have a welcome reception, so that's kind of a long day. After class, we'll be going to 7, which is right down here on Hennepin for a welcome reception. You'll get to meet the other cohorts and some faculty and some of our alumni. And then on Saturday, jeans and be comfortable. But it is pretty casual unless there is a specific sort of event or a panel where you'd want to be in business casual. The other important thing that people always want to know about is the parking. And you'll notice in these folders you have a little validation sticker, which will pay for your parking for today. And talking about quality improvement, this is something I've wanted to have happen for a long time, and finally is going to take place. You will be, instead of getting a validation every time you come on campus to pay for parking, what we're going to do now is on your your e-bill, if you will, at the start of the fall semester each year, you're going to get a $100 discount or credit will show up on your bill. And basically that is to reimburse you for the parking. We found that by giving out the validations each time, it was very inconsistent. Sometimes they wouldn't work. It was very hard then to try and get a reimbursement for an individual student. And also if somebody was traveling and wasn't driving, they weren't getting that benefit. So this way it's fair across the board. So you will be getting that, and I think it's going to show up on your invoice. It's going to say discount parking. So you will see that, your first bill that you'll get the end of this month, you should see a $100 discount for parking. So you won't be handed these individual validations when you come. So just wanted to let you know about that. And then so today, after we listen to the panel, we are going to go and have student IDs taken. So you get an ID, and it will have that ID number on it. It will be a picture ID. We're also going to have a headshot taken that we're going to put together the cohort roster. And I'm sure all of you have seen on the Blackboard site the rosters for the other cohorts. And hopefully you've taken a look at those and read their bios. We'll do that. And then actually right below where you parked at 11th and Harmon, there's a fun Indian restaurant called Dancing Ganesha. They have a buffet, so we'll just, once your pictures are taken, go down there, go through the buffet line. You can sit wherever. There's no real structure to the lunch, just to enjoy and get to know one another. And then once you're done, you're free to take a little break, take a walk, check out the bookstore, and just make sure that you're back in this room by 1 o'clock. And Moore, who will be teaching the stats class, and he'll be introduced in just a minute, Moore Yang, will kick off the afternoon session from 1 to 2, and then Jack and Jason will be going over the case study, the Paul Levy, which was posted in the Blackboard site. If you didn't have a chance to read it, there is a printed copy for you in the folder, so you could take a glance at that. And then the last item in this folder, 2 items. We will be handing out iPads at the end of today, and we give them to you just as a convenience. Might help you with some of the cohort communication, email. I know lots of people have lots of different email accounts, and sometimes it's easier to just get one email on one device so that you kind of keep track of things. So there is a sheet that kind of helps explain how you can get it set up. And then there is also a sheet, an iPad affidavit, because it technically belongs to the university. It's yours at the end of the program, at the completion. And so everybody will need to just sign this affidavit, and we will need to collect them as we hand you your iPads at the end of the day. So lots of little details. But I hope I've kind of explained how this is all going to work, made you feel kind of comfortable about the process that happens when you come on campus each time, arrival and where you'll be and how to dress, and each morning us at food. Every time you come on campus you get sort of the same setup here. There'll always be coffee, some pastries, juice, fruit, and in the afternoon, right Mike, we always get cookies, something sweet, something salty to kind of get you through the day. So those are just lots of little details. What? Whispering in the background. So those are just some logistical details. I am available to answer, all sorts of questions. No question is too small or, too dumb, or, anything that can help perhaps put your mind at ease and make you comfortable is certainly what we aim for. One other thing I forgot that is in the folder, there is a list of everybody, names along with your employer and position, as well as the city and state where you live, and I'm going to ask Patrick Lytle, who will be part of the panel, last year had asked for this city and state information because they used it to help set up study groups, and so it was kind of nice to sort of know where people were located, because they'll talk at the panel a little bit about how cohorts organize themselves, and because one of the things about a cohort is how you can support one another and help each other out. So one of the ways is certainly to set up study groups. It can either be you get together physically or connect through WebEx or FaceTime or something like that. Anyway, so you have a list. We're not going to give out the actual home address or phone numbers. Certainly you as a cohort can decide to do that. The program is not going to do that, so that's why that doesn't show up on this, but everybody's listed. Though there are already some changes, so I will make the changes and post the new list in that Blackboard site for you, and then you'll be off and running. But it does at least give you that list, names with everybody's occupation and where they work. So I think that's it for me.
Let's
For
get Janessa up
prosperity.
here too, real quick.
Yes.
I think most everybody in this room has probably talked to Janessa, I would think, so I'll let you talk.
Yeah. Do you want to come up? So I've met many of you, and I've had the opportunity to talk to you at various stages, whether I was sitting in on your interview, or I just talked to you when you were inquiring, or you were on an info session. So I'm in cohort 20, and I'll be graduating this coming November, and I feel very fortunate to be here and have had the opportunity to talk to a lot of you in this process, because it's fun to look out at all of you and see you sitting there, because it wasn't that long ago that I was sitting in your same seat, really excited about what was coming and the whole thing. So I'm so glad to be here, and I'll be here to help you guys with anything. So I can be a resource as well, just like Kate, just like Alice. Questions, as you start in September and you're trying to get a hold of all of this and figure out how to organize yourself, and as a cohort or even just as a student on your own, how to approach everything. It's hard to go back to school when it's been a really long time. So I can be a resource for that as well. Just questions, ask them, communicate. The more questions you ask and the more communicative you are with each other and with us, the better your experience is going to be. So reach out to me anytime. I know a lot of you already have my email and my phone and everything. So very excited for all of you. Glad to see you all here.
Hi, I'm Jason Padgett. I'll be teaching one of the first courses that you'll have when you come back in September, the strategy course. And we'll actually do a little case this afternoon, kind of get into the mindset of how to look at these cases and diagnose them. So I've been teaching in the healthcare program. This is the third year now. And actually my background's in chemical engineering, so kind of an interesting transition, but a lot of the products that I used to work on, the company that I was at, were actually like medicated stents and biopsy needles, so I have a background in kind of the medical device side. So that's where I'm coming from, all right? And you'll see me all day today, all right?
I'm Katerina Glatz. You'll not see me for a while after today, I think. When is the business ethics coming up? In a year from today. So yes, I'll be teaching the business ethics class. This is my fourth year? Gosh, you lose track when you have time. My fourth year teaching in the HCMBA program in the business ethics and law department. And yes, well, you'll just have to wait what the suspense is building. But you'll see me today as well. We'll talk about some of the commitment statements for the program, and if you have any questions throughout, feel free to reach out.
So hello everybody, and my name is Moore Young, and I may look a little bit younger than I actually am. So we will see. So basically, this is my third year. Actually, I'm going to start my fourth year in St. Thomas, but it's my first time to teach healthcare MBA program. But I've been teaching business stats in the previous 3 years. But it's my first time to try it, because right now I'm still tailoring my material just to fit into this program. And later this afternoon, we will talk about more about this. What's your expectation? What's the goal you're supposed to get by the end of this course about business stats? How to make decisions using big data and then those analytical tools. And my personally also doing some healthcare related research. So I will also tell you something about that as well in the afternoon. So we'll talking. All right.
I've already met many of you. I'm Jack Militello. Until recently, I was the director of the program. Now I'm academic director or lead faculty. And as Stephanie alluded, I'm to meetings that we're handling. I'm working with Stephanie on new strategies in healthcare and looking at relationships of healthcare in our community and also among entities of St. Thomas. So I used to be around more often, but I'll be around a little bit. Jason and I will be working on strategy issues together, and you'll see me in your final paper as we'll guide you through your integrated study paper, and I'll be working we'll have coaches or advisors to help you through that. So you'll see me through that process as well, and part of today's as well. Good.
So what we're really here for is to get to know you and for you to get to know each other. So we want you to introduce yourselves as well. Many of the faculty, I don't know if they're going to stay, but I know not everybody's met everybody. So we want to hear about you. So we want to hear what you do, number one, where you're working, what your position is, why you're interested in the healthcare, and give us a little something interesting, please. Give us something to ask at happy hour tonight. We want to know something good about you. So I think we'll start over here with Kristen.
I'm Kristen McDevitt. I work at Fairview Southfield Hospital. I'm an oncology nurse. I've been there almost 10 years. I'm here because I'm really passionate about patient care. I would like to run my own hospice house. That's kind of a big picture goal. Something interesting about me, I'm a cancer survivor, so I'm ultra interested.
I'm Gretchen Poffenberger. I'm Chief Financial Officer for vitreoretinal surgery, which is just the back of the eye. It's not the whole eye, just the back of the eye. And I'm interested in this program because I'm on the financial side and the operations side is kind of a mystery to me. And so I want to learn more about all of healthcare and even outside of healthcare, outside of clinical practice and other areas of healthcare. And I'm Stillwater, Minnesota.
I'm Erin Richmond-Checker. I work at UCare in our Product and Strategy Department, and so I'm a program manager, and so I spend the first half of our year strategizing what are we going to do in the first, third, fifth year from now, and then I spend the second half of our year actually implementing those programs, which is really exciting. Here because really just looking for opportunities to further educate and be able to be a part of the future of healthcare and leadership. And something interesting about me, I'm a really intense big rock climber. It's my big passion. And this spring I'm taking a trip to Mount Everest. So when we're online for 3 weeks, I'll actually be in Nepal. Hopefully that works out.
I am Stacey Hiley. I am the Director of Compliance and Program Development at Renville County Hospital, a critical access hospital about 2.5 hours west of here. Something interesting about me, I said in my first life I was a dietitian and a diabetes educator and have just morphed through healthcare. Unlike you, I'm the opposite. I'm all operations all day long, and the financial part is what I'm basically here for. And the interesting part is that since I am a diabetes educator, and if you've ever worked in a small town, you never get to get rid of any hat that was ever on your head. And so I do still have a full set of patients that I do see. So I'm a practitioner, operations, quality, compliance, safety person, all in one. So I think that this will be a good fit for me, this program, to help me get some of those financial business pieces so that I can keep advancing my career.
I'm Ryan Jordan. I work at Health Partners. I just finished my residency at Regions in emergency medicine, and now I'm doing a fellowship through Health Partners in patient safety and quality improvement. So I work half-time in the emergency department either at Regions or at some of the small emergency departments in western Wisconsin. And then the other half of the time is doing this program and doing the fellowship with a faculty mentor there. Interesting thing about me is I also like climbing, but it's more of the gyms around here and some of the local places, and then I group here as well. So I've been doing that pretty regularly for the last 3-4 years.
I'm Renata Everett, so I work at Orthology. It's a new clinic with 3 locations in the Twin Cities. So I'm a chiropractor, but we offer PT and chiropractic together as a collaborative care model. So I'm also our site manager in St. Louis Park, and launching into this role as a clinician, and I have a lot to learn. So I'm excited to jump into this program and learn how to make that positive impact on our community as well as just the healthcare field in the Twin Cities here.
I'm Jessie Woods. I'm from Colorado, so I'm probably the person who's farthest to attend class this week. I worked in a cardiology practice for 9 years, and now I work at GE Healthcare. So I travel the country week to week, going into hospitals, working with staff on our products and training them how to do it. And also we do workflow consulting where we look at their current processes and use lean methodology to kind of help improve their processes. GE is a big company. They like to promote from within. They really believe in their employees. So I'm taking this course because I want to learn more about management, because that's a direction I would like to go. But also my long-term goals, I'd actually like to get into product marketing. I'd like to be one of our global product managers to work on developing products and services for basically the world. So something interesting about me, obviously I'm from Colorado, and no, I don't smoke marijuana. I was in Switzerland actually last week, and when I got to the border, they actually would ask me where I was from, and that was the thing that he mentioned. And it's unfortunate that that's something that they think about Colorado, obviously halfway around the world. But I like to be outdoors. I don't climb, but I do hike. Colorado has 52 mountain peaks that are above 14,000, and I've climbed 10 14ers, so.
Good morning. My name is Adam Toppin. I am a consulting manager for Element Consulting Group here, just locally based down the road. I've been doing revenue cycle operations and data and technology work, all kind of on the finance side for provider systems. And one thing that I'd like to get out of this program is to learn a little bit more about what it takes to be a decisive leader. What I've noticed working with systems across the country is that there's a lot of similar issues that come up in hospitals all over the country, and everybody kind of does something differently. Nobody really executes very efficiently. So I want to try to train myself a little bit more through this program to learn how to do that. I'm from Maple Grove, and interesting thing about me is that this summer I got into paddleboard. So my wife and I got a couple paddle boards, and I've been known to spend Friday afternoons out on the water with my smartphone and doing work from there. So that's good.
My name is Mike Mertz. I actually graduated with cohort 19 in November, so I'll be in the panel. I'll give you a full introduction at that point. But I work for Clifton Larson Allen, CPA firm, with their physician group, and I'll tell you my whole story when I'm up front. So, thanks.
Hi, I'm Lakmini Kidder. I work for Regents Hospital as Director for Patient Financial Services, so I oversee more of the strategy and operations for revenue cycle there. Interestingly, actually, I've met a few of the faculty and staff before because I started this program, gosh, now several years back, and took a little bit of a break after multiple kids and job changes, etc. But I'm excited to be back, and really looking forward to getting to know all of you and having really great discussions, hopefully. What I like about healthcare and what keeps me interested and motivated is all of the changes that's going on. I think we kind of got a little bit of introduction already, but particularly working at Regents Hospital, it's been a great experience over the last 3 years or so. Not just being a safety net hospital, but also a place where that we're kind of on the front end of growth, and despite the different changes that's come across, we've continued to do well and gain our market share, etc. So that's been kind of a wonderful place to be, despite all the uncertainty that's going on. Something interesting about me, I grew up in Sri Lanka, but so we're a third world country, so there's a lot of, you see the the good and the not so good of what you can see in life very close together there. But since I've had kids, I've gotten very involved in children's kind of welfare type of stuff, both in Sri Lanka and how to connect people here with what's going on down there. So it's kind of been a interesting and fun thing to do in the last several years. So and someday when I hopefully get out of working, I hope to make that kind of be my full-time thing. So thank you.
And I am Sophie Bankston. I work for the city of Bloomington. I'm one of the breastfeeding counselors. So I basically do a lot of education about breastfeeding, and I promote breastfeeding. And I also assist women, nursing women and pregnant women who have issues with breastfeeding. In addition to that, I also do a lot of community outreach work. And while I was in school working on my bachelor's degree, I used to work in Los Angeles, which is where I came from 3 years ago, as a health unit coordinator. I also work for Independent County Medical Center as a care coordinator. So basically, throughout my employment, I noticed that we have a lot of health disparities across our healthcare systems. And this is what made me decide to come into this program, because I would like to be in a healthcare management consulting position that will allow me basically to help health organizations reduce that health disparity and maybe also reduce the cost of healthcare. I will probably work for a health consulting company for a while, and in the long term, maybe have my own organization. Something interesting about myself, I'm originally from Cameroon, which is why you hear this accent. I speak French, that's my first language, and 2 other languages from my country. And I moved to Minnesota 3 years ago. I used to live in Los Angeles, and I just fell in love with Minnesota right away. I was telling these ladies about it earlier. I just love being out there, kayaking, canoeing. I learn all this there and enjoy it. I also play soccer on a weekly basis with my husband and my daughter. In addition, I have a lot of interesting things about me, but I'm trying to cut that down. I also have a baby who's 3 months old, so I'm very excited about it.
My name is Paul Bex. I'm a physician in endocrinology, diabetes, and metabolism, so if you want a job, I work for a small clinic, well actually it's a medium-sized clinic in rural Wisconsin, about 30 miles south of Madison. It's an interesting situation. It's a town of 12,000 people in rural Wisconsin, but they have an $81 million brand new hospital, multi-specialty group with over 50 physicians, about half of them are subspecialists. So we're kind of a mini Mayo clinic, if you will. Do we do transplants? No, but we do quite a bit for such a small town. The dean was talking about 2 languages, the language of healthcare, I understand that, or medicine, I understand that very good. The language of business, I don't understand at all. I had a Econ 101 class when I was a freshman in college, so I'm terrified about the business aspect of things, but we'll get through it. I have a wonderful wife, 2 great kids, a little something about myself. If I could, I would have skis surgically implanted in my feet. I love to do downhill skis, so Colorado's an awesome state. Another thing about me is I love to be on water, boating, I love sailing, I love boating, I love tubing, jet skis, everything. So Minnesota's a nice mountain, or a nice city, or a nice state actually.
I'm Matthew Sistek. I'm a clinical psychologist at Henry County Medical Center, and I actually am kind of in an innovative kind of situation where I'm integrated into a primary care clinic as part of, and our clinic actually treats the high utilizers in the hospital system, and so that's kind of been inspiring for me, and so I really would like to, I entered the MBA program with the hopes of maybe institutionalizing sort of integrated care as well as reducing, or improving how we care for the high utilizers and systems. Just trying to institutionalize that in a bigger picture. I think it's pretty great stuff we're doing in our clinic. It's helping a lot of people. And and I also coordinate the team of psychologists that are integrated in the various primary clinics. And then I guess the interesting thing about me, I'm trying to, or hoping to be able to maintain running marathons and maybe doing some triathlons while I'm going through this program. I don't know if that'll happen, but I'm running Twin Cities in October and hoping to keep that up to keep my sanity. So, thanks.
I am Michelle Malvia. I work for United Healthcare, and I've been with the company for about 8 years now. I started my career prior to United Health as a developer, so I was an IT person, the geek behind the computer. Didn't like that a whole lot, loved the business aspect of it, so moved over. At United, I work as the director of materials, so all those useless pieces of paper you get in the mail that you put in the trash are produced in our area. The explanation of benefits, spindle-free reads, etc. So that's kind of the role, more into the automation of production of that sort of stuff. Something interesting about me, I'm a very competitive sports person, and when I say sports person, it's pretty much anything you can have me play, I'll play. I used to be a competitive swimmer when I was younger, have a hugely competitive streak, will try any sport that I've never tried before. In my ripe old age, I just took out figure skating last year, decided in my 10-year-old that I was going to skate, took a couple falls, I can manage to skate, but I don't know how to stop, so that was an accomplishment from last year. The other another fun fact is my son, who's now 2.5, was born on 11/11/11, so that's good. I feel like I did something great. And I'm excited to be in the program. I've always had a really huge passion for learning, been wanting to do this for 5 years, never seemed like it was the good time. And now people tell me this is probably the worst time I could have picked with a 2-year-old in my house and a 10-year-old, but as I was telling Kate during my interview, I figured, there's never going to be a good time, so we'll just take the plunge and go with it. Excited to be here. Thank you.
I'm Dan Sampson. I'm both a dentist and a physician. I went to the University of Minnesota for dental school and then did my residency out in California in oral and maxillofacial surgery, and that included going to medical school. When I was in undergrad at Madison, my parents lived in rural Wisconsin, so I'm very familiar with the Monroe Clinic. And I've been back in Minnesota for 16 years now. I'm in private practice with a group called OMS Specialists, but I'm also on staff at Children's Hospital at the Cleft and Craniofacial Clinic, and I'm the Associate Chief of Surgery at Children's Hospital. I got into this program partly because in the last few years I've taken on that role as Associate Chief of Surgery, and I've been involved on the board of directors of a nonprofit dental organization in the Twin Cities. And it's really spurred my interest in learning more about the operational and the financial aspects of healthcare. And also, in my career, we bridge a lot between dentistry and medicine. Probably half of my practice is not taking out teeth or replacing teeth with dental implants. It's actually cleft lip and palate surgery and facial reconstructive surgery. And trying to understand, getting more involved in the organizational aspects of the hospital and understanding regulatory patterns and different things that we need to do. And dentistry is behind medicine in that respect, and that these kind of things that have happened in medicine are coming in dentistry, and there's not a lot of dentists that are willing to face it. Dentistry is a lot like medicine was 30 years ago, probably with a lot of solo practitioners. And hopefully as I get older and can no longer do all the physically demanding surgeries, I can kind of jump into more of a role in helping to bring dentistry there. Interesting things about me, I love to ski also. Spent part of my youth growing up in Utah, and that's where I learned how to ski. Love to go out to Colorado, and took up paddleboarding for the first time last summer, and I'm an avid home brewer.
Yes! I'm excited!
Hi, I'm Michael Grand. I'm with Allina Health. I'm part of Allina's Integrated Medical Network, which is Allina's kind of foray into the clinical integration ACO product space, and I'm the financial analyst for that network. And before that, I spent a few years doing revenue cycle and operations consulting, kind of all over the country. I did it in a few different states. This program really looking to expand my knowledge of healthcare and business as we're entering this new space. I'd like to be in a position to learn from other industries as well as this healthcare industry, to be more of a change leader rather than someone who's just reacting to what's been happening. And interesting facts, I guess, on the rock climbing theme. I was one of the people who started St. Thomas's Rock Climbing Club, and then I also just really like to golf a lot.
Hi, I'm Aaron Eichhoff, and I'm a member of the 22nd Cohort. I'm super excited to be here. I currently work at Blue Cross of Minnesota in their finance group, and I'm kind of a lifelong healthcare finance since I got my first big boy job out of college. So I'm very excited to be here. I'm very excited to get started. I'm excited for somebody to explain the return on investment here, because I'm sweating a little bit about that, but I don't want to do this forever. But I'm excited to get started with all of you, and I hope I can add some value in the finance arena. So.
He's over here, Kayla.
Hi, I'm Kayla Schaefer. I work at Hinklet on their primary care quality improvement team. So for the past year, I've been working on great projects integrating with health partners and different quality and clinical improvement, focusing on improving the quality of the patient's care, as well as trying to improve the healthcare costs and the patient experience. And previously, I was working with a consulting firm on helping employers lower their internal healthcare costs. So it's been fun bridging the two, from a provider side and the payer side. And interesting, why I'm excited about this program is I'm just excited to get a strong foundation in healthcare, and I feel like currently in my current role, I am working with a lot of different departments, and I feel they're currently very siloed. So I'm excited to get a strong foundation across accounting and health, human resources, and just healthcare strategy and furthermore. So I'm excited to be here, and something interesting about myself, I'm running in my first race ever at the Twin Cities, the 10 mile. So I'm training and learning how to run right now. And then I'm also learning Russian. So keeping myself busy.
My name is Mike Shalwak. I'm an audit manager at United Health Group. I spend a lot of my time focused on our Optum side of the business, which is focused around healthcare services, and spend a lot of time going to our clinics that we own and auditing their operation processes. I'm excited to be here to get, kind of similar to Kayla, an overall feel for the healthcare industry and how it all fits together. Something interesting about myself, this year my husband and I celebrated our 1-year wedding anniversary and our 10-year anniversary in the same year.
I'm Beth Norheim. I'm a clinician, so I'm glad another clinician. I'm a nurse practitioner currently in vascular surgery at the biggest HMO that we have, which is called the VA. I work here at the VA in Minneapolis. I'm interested in healthcare policy. I'm interested in learning about strategy, finance, and operations because I know of the clinical side, but I don't know of that other side. And I'm interested in learning to be a peer leader. We are nurse practitioners and physicians assistants are becoming more and more important and visible in healthcare. Now, we really have no peer leaders, so I'm here to learn to be a peer leader. Interesting thing about me, I'm an organist. I have a master's degree in art performance. I have 3 children, ages 12 to 22, and same husband.
Hey there, I'm Alex Basara. I work at Health Partners, specifically at Regents Hospital. I do pretty much anything and everything IT in the emergency department. Also an Epic analyst, so I'm the geek behind the computer. Let's see, why I'm interested in the program is I've spent quite a bit of time in the clinical side of things. I know quite a bit about the IT. I know nothing about business, so this should be a good start for me. Something interesting about me, I love to play hockey, and I also like to work on classic cars. I own an old Mustang.
My name is Kenita Renfro. I am currently working at Abbott Northwestern Hospital, part of Alina Health. I am an RN patient care manager for the ambulatory surgery centers and the cardiovascular operating rooms. Healthcare is a second degree for me. My first degree was actually in industrial organizational psychology. Spent a lot of time actually in retail, multi-unit retail management. So healthcare is something that came to me about 6 years ago, so it's still a relatively new field that I'm starting to learn about. At Alina, we're going through a lot of strategic change and a lot of growth strategies, so part of my ambition of coming here is to learn more about how to integrate that as part of my subspecialties that I'm working on, but also globally in the system as well. Interesting thing about me, I've only been in Minneapolis for 5 years. I'm originally from the Chicagoland area, so every day is a new day for me. So when I put in St. Thomas in my GPS, it took me to St. Paul. So I was there and said, oh, you know, this doesn't look right. So then re-plugged in the GPS and it took me here. So I've had a lot of GPS malfunctions since I moved here, going to different places and cities that it wasn't supposed to. So interesting thing about me, I have a husband and 10-year-old daughter, and we do beekeeping as a hobby. So we recently moved our bees to our house to see how that's going, and it's kind of tentative at the moment. But around my house, there's thousands and thousands of bees flying around in our backyard, and so far our neighbors are okay with it, so we'll see how that goes.
A little bit of everything in this cohort, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, that was great. So it's fun for us to see you individually when you come in for interviews and when you talk to you on the phone, but to see you as a group is really great, to see what's coming together. I think it's going to be a great cohort. So next up, we have one more thing, and then we're going to take a very short break before the student panel. So Jason and Katarina?
Alice posted this document about the guiding mindsets of the healthcare HCMBA program about a week or so ago, and I think there's also a copy in your folder. So as part of some of the program redesign, thinking through the program, especially with the new dean coming on board, we've been thinking about sort of the themes of the program. And, you know, I've sat in on a number of interviews, so I shouldn't be an unfamiliar face to some of you. And what came through really clearly is a lot of you are here for leadership. What is it that makes a manager? How do managers think, as opposed to being a practitioner or clinician? So we sat down and thought about what are the guiding mindsets of being a manager. So this document talks a little bit about what are the mindsets of being a practicing manager in a healthcare organization. More generally, just what are the mindsets that managers have in any industry. So this document takes us through 5 kind of mindsets that we think this program is wrapped around and that come through the different courses that you'll experience throughout the program. So just really quickly, I'll go through these. You can take a look at this, and you know you'll have me for the first course, so we can talk more about this as we're going. But the 5 mindsets that we think really represent the program and match up with the mission that Dean Lenway talked about this morning are first to be reflective. But reflective about what? So big picture, society, down to industries, then your organizations, and now thinking about colleagues and even yourself. So this will come through in a number of different courses in different ways, and as Alice mentioned this morning, Jack will be leading these discussions at the beginning of each time you're here for a residency, offer you an opportunity to really be reflective. All right? The second mindset is analytical. And the third one is operational, these tie together. So the bulk of an MBA program is actually focused on those types of analytical and operational courses. So like mine in strategy, well, it's less quantitative, more qualitative. There's still a critical thinking element that's part of the mission of St. Thomas. Moore's classes in statistics, that's where we're getting into the hardcore quantitative analytical side of it. So those are the 2 mindsets that are kind of core to the business acumen of managers. And then with the fourth and fifth, collaborative and creative, bringing together the organization, your responsibilities not only to the people you work with, but the organizations that are all part of the system. We also have this mindset of being a healthcare system, that there are these discrete parts, but they're interconnected to each other. And that what happens in one part has an impact on the other parts. So you have to be cognizant of the responsibilities and the impacts in those different parts of the system when you're working in your kind of discrete part. And then finally, the creative part. How can we learn from what's going on in other industries in the economy? How can we learn from other organizations that are doing similar things to us? I think, Adam, you mentioned that, right? There's many different ways of doing this around the country. How can we learn from each other to figure out what works and what doesn't work? So these are the 5 mindsets that kind of tie through the program, and you know each professor will have their kind of major focus on these, but you'll see elements of each one of these coming through in the different courses. So we'll have more time to talk about this later on.
So as much as this was the what, the statement of commitment that you also received in your packet, and it's also on Blackboard, is more about the how. So how are we going to get there, and what are some of the principles that if you keep those in mind, you'll have a successful experience here? Because this is probably quite an unusual program for most of you. You work, you have a very busy life, and this program is very fast-paced. It's cohort-based, so it has lots of unique characteristics that many of you probably even, from your other educational experiences haven't quite experienced in the same way. And we'll talk about this in the student panel some more in terms of how to make this happen. So some concrete recommendations how to put some of these things in practice. But those principles, they kind of flew out of discussions that we've had with students. So on previous panels, the things that they said were essential in making a successful program. Also from an instructor's perspective, what do we see makes a cohort work well? What makes students succeed? And so you have this as a statement of commitment with a signature line on the bottom. Now, it is not meant to be some sort of contract that will call you out on. So if you violated some of those things, you'd be like, oh, strike one, and then you have 3 strikes. Now, it's really an aspirational thing. And so putting a signature on it and keeping this for yourself, when the going gets tough, and it will very soon, you'll have something to kind of remind you, what are the things that I aspire to? It'll be tough sometimes to get through the work, and so you'll remind yourself about timeliness, and maybe you'll set a reminder on your iPhone. And we'll hear, I'm sure, techniques from some of the people who have successfully emerged on the other side. There is also commitments such as engagement and excellence. How do I make this work for everyone around me? You're a cohort, and we expect you to build some sort of cohesive unit, and you're all very different. You have different ways to approach work, but it only is going to work if each of you puts in the best that you can put in. Groups naturally sort of gravitate, and I'm sure there's some sort of law of physics, gravitate to some sort of state of inertia, or so if I remember correctly from my school days. But let's try and keep each other on our toes and motivate each other as a group to really do our best work, be timely and be excellent. And lastly is sort of purpose, and this is the guiding principle, and each of you will come with a different purpose to this, and I've already listened to many of the things you had to say about what brought you here, and keep talking about that as a group. Education is not value-free. You all come to this, you want to get something out of it. At the end of the day, this is going to be for something, probably not just for a better job and a better paycheck, or at least I hope not.